Now let's see what Kant did. Kant changed, he changed the analysis from Leibniz's. And here are a few things he writes about the transcendental unity of apperception. And he's going to use different expressions here. One is transcendental I. Okay? When you hear that expression, transcendental I, you know, if you get a picture in your mind, it's wrong. The transcendental I is essentially not an object. So any thought of it, making it into an object, is wrong. This is where Hegel's going to get involved with dialectics. Another expression he uses is transcendental self-consciousness. Okay, I'll just read a couple of short quotations from Kant himself. The first one is, the original and necessary consciousness of the identity of the self is thus, at the same time, a consciousness of the necessary unity of appearances according to concepts. So what he's really saying there is we experience a sense of self only by experiencing something other than the self. When we notice the unity of experience, there's a sense of self, but it's not the objective part of what we notice. He also calls this, quote, the unity of transcendental self-consciousness. Here's another quotation. In the synthetic original unity of apperception, I am conscious of myself not as I appear to myself, nor as I am in myself, but only that I am. All that can be said about it is I am. Because this idea of self, it's not an object, it has no qualities. There's nothing about it that distinguishes it from another I. Any picture of it's wrong, any model of it's incorrect. And so it's quite a subtle thing. And then Kant writes, so first of all, it's not an experience that he's talking about. It's something that accompanies experiences, but it's not an experience itself. It's something a reflection can reveal. Okay. Secondly, it's not a concept. Kant writes, we cannot even say that this is a concept, but only that it is a bare consciousness which accompanies all concepts. These days, it's really common to read the self is fragmented, right? Well, this doesn't contradict that claim. The transcendental I doesn't contradict the idea of fragmentation, because the transcendental I would be presupposed in any claim to fragmentation. Fragmentation is an incoherent concept without unity being presupposed, and it tends to be understood on the metaphor of an object that's broken into parts, or parts that one wishes to put into an object but cannot. Okay, transcendental I is essentially not object. All right. This insight of Kant's has everything to do with the idea of freedom and the idea of being a person rather than being an object. The fact that people don't like to be known by other people 100%. If you think somebody else's knowledge encloses you, you'll fight that. You'll fight that. If somebody does research on you and says, I understand this person and their culture totally, and this is how it all works. I have a model, there's a structure. We're going to fight against that. It's oppressive. And why is it oppressive? Because something about us involves that transcendental, we can't be captured as an object. If we feel like we're an object in someone else's eyes, then we lose freedom. And we don't want it. But that's better than being nothing. So we find relationships, dysfunctional relationships, where you see one person oppressed, made to be an object sort of for the other, can't show any creativity without threatening the other, can't show any initiative without threatening the other, has to be controlled. We see relationships like that, and people can get stuck there because it's better to be that than nothing. the biggest existential fear. And we have whole cultures that do that. Person of color in a racist society, that's the message you get. You're encompassed in somebody else's knowledge. We know that's not true, we can feel that's not true, and we have a way of talking about why we know that's not true and why that has to be fought. A woman in a patriarchal culture, it's the same kind of pressure. You're being pushed towards being more of an object than a subject. You become, somebody else's knowledge explains you.